Kier Starmer has a secret plot to bring millions more migrants to the United Kingdom. I'm going to explain this ludicrous situation that he has got with the small boats and how, in fact, it's going to lead to even more immigration than we ever had before, even though Britain is creaking under the weight of the number of migrants that are coming to Britain. Hello, everyone. This is Andre Walker. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please donate to Patriot Fund. As I made the point in the previous video, I don't think there's going to be any criminal actions after the Trump dinner against me. And so the Patriot Fund has not been asked to donate anything to any legal fund. So it's all clear for other people. Great result. Okay, let me tell you something about this one in, one out scheme that Kier Starmer is operating. When he said that he wanted to stop the small boats, let's just go into the small print of what he said. What he said was this: we are very concerned about boats coming over. It's extremely dangerous and people are dying on the channel. Now, anyone, before I go any further, let me tell you, any of you that have taken a ferry from the UK to France on a choppy day will tell you that the English Channel is not the place to take a dinghy on. It's absolutely horrendous in good weather. It's awful in bad weather. I remember once I was on a ferry and literally out of one window I could see the sea and out of the other window I could see the sun, and it just went like that, and they were manning the lifeboats, and that wasn't a particularly bad day. It was just the nature of the beast, right? Obviously something had broken free in the hold. But anyway, I do accept that it is extremely dangerous to cross the English Channel. So let's just be clear on that. But let me now just make a point about something else. Right. So what Kier Starmer is doing with this one in, one out and all these deals with France is this. He says that instead of people travelling on small boats to Britain, we should fly them in instead. What? Sorry? Yes, that's absolutely right. He's saying that we want to make it easier for people to claim asylum in embassies and consulates around the world so they no longer have to take the small boats. So his argument about eliminating small boats has got nothing to do with mass immigration. It's got everything to do with literally eliminating the small boats. What he's saying is we need to fly them over instead of getting them on the boats because it's dangerous to get them on the boats. Now, within that, I'm saying that this will have millions more. If you are able to apply for asylum from any country or almost any country in the world, in the British Embassy in that country, then there's going to be a massive increase in this. That's what that one in, one out scheme is. If they find somebody, if they manage to find an immigration court that's about to deport someone, then what they do is they deport them and take somebody who has applied in an embassy into the country. Now, let me tell you something. Do you know Peter Cardwell from Talk TV? Hi, Peter Cardwell. Sorry, I shouldn't have done the accent. But Peter Cardwell, former special advisor. A lot of people don't like him because he's not as right-wing as me, but he's a good bloke, really. So anyway, when the Rwanda scheme came about, I heard somebody on my Twitter account say, or on my YouTube post account, whatever it was, doesn't matter, saying that the deal with Rwanda is that for every single person that Britain sent to Rwanda to have their asylum processed, Rwanda would send a disabled Rwandan person to Britain. Now, I looked at this. I phoned up Cardwell, who at the time was the political editor of Talk TV, and I said, Peter, is this true? And he said, when I heard it, I didn't believe it. And so I phoned up number 10 Downing Street and asked them, and they confirmed that that was the case. And so what you have to remember is, I mean, none of these asylum seekers get a job, but you're sending an able-bodied drug dealer over to Rwanda in exchange for a disabled Rwandan. Now, I don't want an able-bodied drug dealer in Britain, but I'd rather have an able-bodied bloke than a disabled somebody else, because they will cost even more to the British taxpayer. But that is the way that this is going to work now. It's all now not about making it harder to come to the UK. That is not on the table. What they're doing is making it easier to apply to the UK so you don't literally have to get on the small boat. Now, I want to make another point about why the small boats have come about, because believe it or not, and I always used to make this joke, but nobody ever laughed. France built a wall and made Britain pay, right? What happened very simply was this. These asylum seekers used to all get onto trucks, but there's a truck park in Calais, which France built. Well, all right, Britain built the wall. France demanded the wall. Britain paid for it. I don't know who built it. Doesn't matter. but it cost £4.5 million, best £4.5 million Britain has ever spent. Because what happened was originally the trucks used to stop, the migrants used to get on board, and we used to fine the truck drivers, which I always thought was a little bit unfair actually, sort of £5,000 for every migrant they caught. I made that figure up, I don't know exactly how much it is. But when that wall went up, we secured the Channel Tunnel and the ferry ports, and suddenly they had to start coming by boat. So what we now need to do is make it harder to come to Britain. But what Kier Starmer wants to do is to make it easier. So instead of those people who come on boats, having to come on boats, they will fly in. Now, let me make another point to you that I discovered the other day, which I think we need to be extremely concerned about. So in the past, we have talked about the fact that it's only military-aged men who are getting on these boats. Actually, we've now discovered it's not just military-aged men who are making the journey. There are also women and children. Now, I've been told that many of the women are sold into prostitution and many of the children, and I'm sorry to say this, are sold into the international organ donor market, which means that basically they're put to sleep and then obviously butchered in order for their organs to be sold. Now, in the United Kingdom, you're not allowed to buy organs. They have to be donated, but in other countries you can. And unfortunately, some people who get transplants in other countries, there is a child that has been basically taken apart for its component parts, which is, I mean, just about as bad as it gets, doesn't it? I mean, you look at things like what happened in the Holocaust, and I would suggest that that is even worse, although on a much, much smaller scale, which is thankful, I guess. And so many of the men who make it to the United Kingdom on these small boats actually have already committed horrendous atrocities of selling people into slavery and into organ harvesting, which I think is absolutely dreadful. There was one boat where 75 women were thrown over the side because the men on board believed that they were witches and were committing magic and putting spells on them. So that tells you two things. It says, number one, that the men coming to Britain are backward, but we knew that anyway. But also, number two, they've been guilty of serious criminality, not actually on the journey there themselves. Now, if you look at the film Amistad, you know, throwing dozens of people over the side into the sea and sinking them was considered absolutely awful in that film. But of course, because it was done by Africans themselves, there was almost no media coverage in the United Kingdom of this. And so I guess what I would say to you is how to make it safer to come to Britain. The way to make it safer is to make no illegal entry possible. We've done it with planes. We've now done it with vans. It's now time to make it impossible to do it on boats. And obviously, the other problem now that we've got with all of this is we've saw with that Afghan resettlement scheme that what will happen is people are able to claim their human rights in the UK, right across the world, even if they've never been to the UK. What happens when they come into the British Embassy? Are they able to file a claim that can then be taken to the British courts? I suspect it probably will. And so these lawyers in North London that have made so much money off this will now just move their operations to countries right around the world. I find it distasteful and disgusting. Please donate to Patriot Fund below. We are finally in a position to get that email out to you. MailChimp, our mail provider, have decided that we're not a far right, whatever it is that they thought we were. And so I'm going to be able to send you that update. And there's loads and loads of things to update you because it's been 3 months since I've been able to get that update out. If you want to read what the Patriot Fund does, you can donate below. We get all the email addresses together and send out that monthly update, which has taken 3 months this time. Until next time, goodbye.